I'm Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to be talking about Front Runner's handle bracket with a LED light on it, and this is going to be designed for your Slimline II platform rack. So let's take a closer look at it. Now, if you're someone who has used your platform and you do decide to go with this, we'd love to hear how this is working for you, whether this is really helping you get up there, helping you make sure you watch your step, and we'd love to see or hear how you're using this on a daily basis. But to really get a better look at this, we're actually going to turn off our lights so we can really see how it performs. So this is going to be perfect, especially if you do have the Slimline II, since this is really just designed for that platform rack. Even if you have another one by Front Runner, you just want to make sure you're getting the correct one for your kit. Another thing to think about is going to be how you're getting this wired up. Today we just kind of have this mocked up. There's multiple different ways you can wire it to your vehicle. There's even a harness by Front Runner, so that can make it a little bit easier for you. But if you do decide to go that route, I'd recommend doing all your lighting at the same time, just to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to redo it the next time. But this is really going to be more designed for those people who are doing some off-roading, some overlanding, and maybe you need to access something on top of your roof. You can just use this handle here and reach up here. This is also helping you kind of watch your step, because late at night, especially on that more rough, rocky terrain, you can really easily trip and fall. And this is going to help you kind of find those running boards or the steps next to your vehicle so you can more easily get up here and access your gear. And now that I turn the lights back on, we can take a closer look at this. So this is just going to be in two parts, and this is a kit, so you can actually get these two pieces separate. So one is going to be the light itself. If you want to get that separate, let's say you want to put it underneath your vehicle for the rock lights, you can really pair it up with that and still keep this too. Or if you want some extra brackets on your vehicle to have at multiple locations, but maybe not at every one of those locations you need this light, you can actually find that too. But let's kind of look at them here and how they're going to install. So right here, this is just grabbing onto the platform. And you're going to have multiple different locations you can mount to. That's what I like about this, is we can have them, as you can see, not in line with our slats, or you could shift this over and it will be in line with the slats. So there's going to be a lot of different mounting locations you can have this on top of your platform. And actually using this feels all right. The biggest thing I did notice was on the back side of it, that edge is a little bit hard. So when you grab it, it's a little bit rough on your hands. If you have any gloves, this won't be an issue at all. I'm really just comparing that compared to the platform itself. Grabbing onto the platform feels pretty nice, but in some cases that's not going to be available to you. A couple of reasons being, if you have any larger items up here, like a tent, some boxes, baskets, you might not be able to get your hands in there. Another thing this really adds to is since it sits a little bit further away from the platform, just a little bit easier to get up here, and you don't have to reach as far. But other than that, there's not a whole lot to say about this. This is really just going to be a kit that gives you the ability to get on top of your roof a little bit easier and also get some light so you can more safely get up there too. Now, as far as the installation process, there's really not a whole lot to it. It's just going to be a couple bolts that go into place and this light going on there. Now, we won't be talking about how to wire this to your vehicle because everyone's experience is going to be a little bit different. But if you are curious about the installation of this, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. So to start off the installation, if I have everything kind of laid out, and this is where we're going to decide where we're going to have our handler located. Now, I already have my light hooked up to the power, so that's good to go. For you, you're just going to have to take it however you find best for you. Like I said earlier, you can actually use one by Front Runner and use their harness to kind of connect everything a little bit easier. But we're going to be focusing on how to get this handle in place and then how to get that light connected to that. So, like I said, we need to figure out where we want to place this, and the two decisions we have are going to be if we want it lined up with the slots of your platform or in between like I have it right now. If you're going to go with the slots, we're actually going to use this existing hardware on the bottom of that platform. I'll explain that a little bit more later, but what I'm going to do is go in between so we can kind of showcase all the extra hardware that we have. But to do anything, we're actually going to start at the very top of the platform. To start off with, we're going to grab our M8x16 hardware. That's going to be that shortest bolt in your kit. And we're also going to have our lock nuts, or nylon lock nuts, that come with your kit. Here's one of them, a little bit hard to see. And what we're going to do with those, we're actually going to have this little crevice here on the side. You can see a little bit more on this side, but we're actually going to put it on this one right here. I'm going to slide that right into place, right here. This might be kind of hard to stick your finger in. I'm kind of jamming mine in there pretty tight. If you have something to push it through, that'll help you out some. We'll just line that up with our bracket, just kind of roughly. Then what you're going to do is put that bolt through here and secure it down. I'm going to push it a little bit more over to the side until we do get this lined up. Another big thing too is to make sure you get this in the right direction. So you want to make sure it's facing just like this. You don't want the taper side up. So more so in this orientation. Something that helped me out line everything up is underneath you'll be able to see some holes where this bracket lines up with. And then up top, once everything is lined up underneath, I'm going to line up this nut to that opening right there. I'll probably just slide this through too until we kind of get grabbed onto it. There you go. I'm just going to tighten this. Make sure I am lined up. We are. You can probably start by just hand tightening it. It'll be a little bit difficult, but here pretty soon, I'm just going to repeat this on the other side. Make sure everything's squared, and then we can tighten this the rest of the way down with an Allen key. Before I tighten the top side completely down, I want to make sure I can get my bolts lined up properly on the bottom. So depending on which ones or which location you're using, if you're getting it lined up with those slots on your platform, you're going to use the longer bolt. That's going to be your, the 31. Now if you're just going to be using the same location as we are today, or just a spot that's going to be in between slots, then you're going to be using the M820 hardware. Either way, you're going to use a washer for both of them. And then we're going to top that off with one of the nuts that come with your kit. The way this is going to work is you'll find that we have these holes underneath here, like I pointed out earlier. It's going to be those same holes you'll line this up with. I'll push it through there. And things get shifted around sometimes. That's why we don't want to tighten it up quite yet. There we go. It's through there. And then we'll reach across to the other side and tighten this down. And once it's started, you can tighten it down a little bit more. Just enough for it to kind of grab hold. It's not going to go anywhere. Once that one's started, we're going to repeat that on the other side, and then we can tighten all these bolts the rest of the way down. You're going to use a 5mm Allen key to do that, and that's going to be the ones for the top. For the bottom, it's going to be the same thing, only you're going to need a way to hold that nut in place, and the way you'll be able to do that is with a 13mm wrench. So we'll just get this completely secured down, and then we can move on to that light. And now we want to secure this light into place. Right now, just kind of loosely have it in there. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. What I'm going to do is grab one of these smaller bolts we have, and then I'm going to use one of these little tiny nuts. That's going to be on the back side of it, and we can secure it down. So let's do that right now. So this really is just going to slide in right behind your bracket. You want to make sure it's in this orientation. We'll push it right over here. Now your kit will come with some rubber pads. We're not going to be using those for this application. And the trick here is this is going to be a pretty tight spot. So what I'm going to do is try to get my fingers in here. I'm going to start off by putting it right next to my bolt. Try to get that flat on there. I'm going to let that bolt sag a little bit. Push that right over the opening. Push that bolt back through. And then turn these nuts. It's going to be a little tight. If you do have like a wrench that can hold on to this, that's going to help you out a lot. but if you can't get it with your fingers, you can get it at least started that way. And we're going to just do that on both sides of this, just starting to get this hand tight. And once you have both those bolts kind of started, then we can tighten them down the rest of the way. To do that, you're going to need a 8mm wrench, and then you're going to need a 3mm Allen key. So I'll just hold it in place with the wrench. That looks about good there. And now I can tighten this down. And with that done, then all you have to do is make sure you have everything wired up correctly. And we're just going to give it a little test. Make sure that light does come on. And if it is going on, then we know everything's working properly. And that'll do it for our look at some of the features and the installation of the front runner handle bracket with LED lights. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.